Hey guys, it's Tony with Backwoods Biker Magazine and Wood Tramp Outdoors. I've gotten a lot of emails asking me what I would have done had I been on I-95 south of Washington earlier this week when so many people were trapped out there in that storm. Hang tight, we'll talk about it. All right, guys, welcome back. What a tragedy. Every year I make a video or I write an article or even in classes that I might be teaching, I strongly emphasize not the suggestion but the need for anyone that lives in an area of our country that can suffer from sudden, unexpected, or especially unplanned weather scenarios. Here in the Midwest, we often suffer from tornado weather. You've heard about our tornadoes here, and just down south this year in Kentucky, Mayfield, Kentucky, terrible. Wasn't prepared for it. A lot of times you can't be prepared for a tornado. But what you can be prepared for is winter instances. Usually with the weather the way it is right now, with our science, the way we can track it, we know when a storm is coming. But it's funny that, it's not really funny, but it's odd to me that we can have all this knowledge available to us and we ignore it. And I think that's what happened out there on I-95. They were being told that the storm was coming. Of course, they didn't know the magnitude, how sudden, how fast, how much snow would fall that quick, which is why you should be prepared before you ever get involved with a situation like that. You should have all your ducks in a row. And that's why every year I say that for every season you ought to have an e-bag in your vehicle, in parts of your home. Again, here in the Midwest, I always talk about the need to have an e-bag in your basement, to where if the sirens go off and the tornado is imminent, you run down, you grab the bag, and it may not be everything you need there, but you'll be a lot more comfortable and a lot more confident to be able to survive that natural disaster if something were to happen tragically to you. Same thing goes with the e-bags, especially during winter time. Summertime is not as critical. People can still get hurt, but what happens in the winter time, classic example was Virginia, is that people can go off the road and first responders just can't get to them in time, and oftentimes they succumb to hypothermia. Just weather-related deaths can happen, and almost every single time it's because not of a lack of experience, but it's a lack of preparedness. And so that's why I emphasize every year, put yourself together an e-bag that is designed specifically for your vehicle, for your geographical area, and especially for the weather that you are anticipating that might be coming your way. So that's what I want to talk about to you today, and you're going to see things with this. Every year my bag might evolve because I've gotten new equipment, or I may have more knowledge. Updated stuff might happen, and then there's just stuff that I've done for a long time and I'll never abandon it because it's proven success. So let's just get into that e-bag first of all. I'm going to start out with the bag itself that's going to go in my vehicle. I have a Ford F-150 truck. She's an old girl with 303,000 miles on her. Yeah, it's a Ford F-150, half-ton, and it's a 2005. It's an old truck, but man, it has lasted me a long time, and it's a good old girl. So this is the bag that's going to go in that good old girl. This is a convertible bag, which means that it can be either used as a traditional backpack like such. Straps are inside here, everything I need, or you can use it as a shoulder bag. And as far as the winter e-bag goes, this is the way that I like to keep it. So if I need something, if I'm having to get out of the vehicle, I have quick access to this. Don't have to take it off. Okay, so this is the bag itself. It is a tactical style bag, but it's not really what I would consider a tactical bag. Tactical style, tactical look, but it's just not as hefty as you would find in some of my tactical bags. But it's a decent bag, and of all places, it came through Battle Box a few years back, and I've just not gotten rid of it because I've almost given it away a few times, and here it sits still. So this is what it looks like when it's this way. It's a bucket style bag, and I have got this main compartment here, and then if I want to, I can open this up and I can shove stuff down in it here that I need quick access to. Okay, that's the bag itself. It's about 24, let me see, no, it's about 18 inches long, approximately 6 inches wide, and then it's about 14 to 16 inches high, right? So it's a decent size bag, and as you see on the outside, I always lanyard the pair of leather gloves out there for quick access. These are the Plainsman's gloves with the small gauntlet on them. You've asked me about these, and I've got probably 5 or 6 double unopened packages because that's how much I like these gloves. They're very good gloves, but I always put them here on the outside for quick access. And also, as you always know, on the outside of my bags is going to be an emergency whistle. That's something that could come in really handy in a storm. So I'm going to set this off to the side, and we're going to start talking about what's going in this bag. All right. Now, if I go off of the road, let's just make the scenario, which can happen here right now today. They are calling for about 1/8 of an inch of ice. Okay. And I mean, it doesn't take very much. I don't care if you have a 4-wheel drive or not. When you start to lose your traction, you'll be sideways and down in a ravine. That's happened here. A friend of mine, a fellow musician, several years ago, went off a ravine after a show, coming back from about a 50-mile journey, and she went down in the ravine, and nobody found her for 3 or 4 days, and unfortunately, she didn't survive. So that can happen. You can get off the road, you can be out of sight, nobody can see you when they drive by. What are you going to do? You have to be prepared. So with that thought in mind, if it's wintertime, so what are my main concerns? First of all, if I'm disabled and I am in a situation like out there in Virginia on I-95, my main concern is that I'm going to be able to stay warm. My next concern is that I am going to be able to have water. Number 3 is that I'm going to be able to have some type of food source. And then, of course, we're gonna worry about how long we're gonna have to be in that vehicle. What happens if the vehicle is such that we can't stay in it? What are we going to do? Those are all the things that I try to prepare for. So let me get into this real quick so it's not a marathon video for you. So we're going to talk about staying in the shelter first of all, or in the vehicle. First of all, I want to stay warm. With me is going to be this blanket here. This is a queen-sized wool blanket that comes from Possum Pouch Products out of Wheeling, West Virginia. Jay Hercules sells these blankets, and I got to tell you, for what it is, and the size of it, and the functionality of this, and its performance, it's $195, which is a super bargain for something like this. Jay not only sells blankets, but he also has some of the best wax canvas products out there, especially backpacks. My favorite backpack for 3 and 4 day jaunts is the Jaunt Pack, and he makes those. But this would be the wool blanket that I take, and you can see I've got it hanged up with some bungee straps. Those always can come in handy. Now, I do this 2 ways. I will either put this on the bottom of the bag with the bungee straps, or I will put it inside the top of the bag, so this will be one of the first things that I can get out to stay warm. Okay, that's the first thing that I'll tell you about. Next thing is that I always pack a small packable jacket. This one happens to come from Outdoor Vitals. It's very small, but man, is this thing warm. Has a small footprint. It'll fit right in that bag, and I'm going to show you how this stuff fits in the bag as we go here, or when I get to it. Another thing that I want to show you here is that this is the type of first aid kit that I put in my vehicle. You've seen my bleed bags before and my personal bags, my IFAC kits, but this is the type of kit that I take out to a base camp. You know, I don't take those great big doctor's bags. What's in here is beyond the bleed bag stuff. You know, we got stuff in here for boo-boos, for owies and ouchies, for brakes. You know, we got these big splints in here, moldable splints. Got all kinds of different bandages that are in here, tapes, quick clot, tourniquets, Israeli bandage. Yeah, just everything that you would ever need. You know, assorted little finger bandages, medications, Neosporin ointment, just a lot of stuff, safety pins, just what you would generally have in a base camp. And the reason I do that is because, just like I-95, I may not be the only person that's stranded, and if I can rescue myself, maybe I can help somebody else too. So that's why I take this bigger bag with me when we're talking about making an e-bag for a vehicle. All right. Next thing that I'll show you, of course, we always take, I don't know why I got this laying out here, but you know, orange bandana, you'll see more of those, or at least one more of those. What else do I want to show you here? Okay, well, I always carry water with me, right? And you'll see more of the water, but I carry at least 2 and sometimes more than that bottles of water. And because I have a bucket style bag, I want it to be somewhat organized, so I use these wax canvas bags, and these happen to come from Campcraft Outdoors. I'm not trying to do commercials for anybody, but I'm just telling you, it's dope gear. If you want something that's going to last you a lifetime, just see some of the stuff that I'm showing you here today. Jason at Campcraft Outdoors has some of the best wax canvas products out there. His haversacks are just crazy cool to be able to look at them and use them. They're the best out there as far as I'm concerned. And these bags here will organize your kit to the place where you're not always digging for stuff, you know. So I want to just kind of show this to you here, what I have. So if I'm in the vehicle, you know, let me just kind of rewind this here so I'm not really confusing you here. Let's just kind of keep with the theme of staying inside the vehicle. One of the things that you are going to encounter if you have an off-road incident, or even, again, you know, backed up hundreds of cars in a 20-some mile stretch that couldn't move and ran out of fuel, which means if you run out of fuel, you're going to run out of heat. And this is what I want to show you. Something like this is always in my vehicle when I am traveling in the wintertime. My office to my workplace from my house is 30 miles away over a river between fields that often develop black ice on the roads because of the blowing, misting snow. And I could go off any time. And if you're in one of those situations where you're going to be in your vehicle for 20, 30 hours, very likely you're going to have to shut off your car to conserve your gas, or your truck. And between those times, I mean, the reason that you really want the truck going or the car going is for heat. And that's what I want to show you here. This is something that my grandfather showed me many years ago. A little bit different than what I'm going to show you here, but this is just a coffee can. All right, I keep the lid on it because I actually store stuff in this coffee can, right? All right, and the first thing that you're going to see out of here is I actually put a little bag of food in here, and this comes from Peak Refuel Chicken Pesto Pasta, right? Okay, I don't want to talk about that just yet. I want to focus on this right here. All right, the components to this are real simple. You've got the coffee can itself, you've got this base right here, and then you have an e-candle. This comes from Wood Tramp Outdoors. It is 100% beeswax. If you're going to use a candle in your vehicle, make sure that it's beeswax and nothing else. No petroleum wax, anything like that. Man, it'll cause smoke. You don't want that to happen. You know, beeswax is pure. All right, so you got this base, and what these are, I have super glued these nuts on here, and you can also see that it has these little pieces of paracord on the outside there, and what that is for is to keep this from sliding around once you have it deployed on there. Okay, so the way this works, may as well just show you. Let me see here. Okay, I got a bag that's identified as having my fire kits in it. All right, so let me just grab this here, and I'll grab this out of here. This is a fire kit that you've seen for a long time, and we'll just light this. Now this is stone cold right now, right? I'll go ahead and light. This is a 3-wick candle, but I'm only going to light one candle, 1 wick rather, because with 1 wick it's a 12-hour candle. And all you do is you just place this right on top of the nuts there. You can lay this on your floorboard and it will not get hot through there. And because of the fact that the nuts elevated off of the wooden piece of board, actually this is the top of a cigar box that I glued those to, and already I can't touch this. Ouch. Already you can't touch it. So if this is sitting in the floorboard of your truck or your car, it will burn for up to 12 hours with 1 wick being lit. And the can gets hot, it gives off heat, and it will keep you warm. All right. So that's one of the things that I've done this for years, and you can use small cans. Matter of fact, you can use these cans inside of a tent as long as they're stable. You don't want them tipping over because the top of it's going to get very hot. If it fell over onto a sil nylon tent, you're in bad shape. Or if there's something combustible, it will burn that also. But it's fairly safe. You know, I've never had an incident, and again, it's already throwing off some dynamic heat. Tell you something else this is good for. I'm gonna go ahead and just shut that down real quick. What this is also good for, whether you put it on this platform or not, is if you have a stove, a butane type of stove, that you want to boil some water, you want to cook some food, like I've just showed you, any of that type of stuff. This can serve. You could use it inside, but you would have to open up one of your windows because of the butane giving off the carbon monoxide. But it will keep it up off the ground, makes it more stable, But yeah, see right now it's all cooled off again, and everything's good to go. So I think that for me, that is one of the smartest tricks that I ever learned when I was young. As I said, you can use smaller cans if you want to. This happens to be a good size for my particular truck, and it gives off a lot of good heat. I've used these in tents before, not this size, a little smaller, and of course the tent is sheltered in, but it does a great job, and all you have to do is have yourself a good candle, and they're easy to build. Just put this stuff back in there, and as I said, just for the sake of me having somewhere extra to put something, I've got this meal down inside of here. All right, so that's another one. All right, and then let me put this back away. Well, we'll just talk about the kits right now. All right, this is a fire kit in here. If something has to do with fire or water, you've seen this fire kit before. On the back of it is cell needles, obviously, and I've got everything that you could imagine under here. I've got bush butter from Wood Tramp Gear to help with fire. I've got already prepared fat wood here. I've got some SFK1 fire kit here and here that burns tremendously. And of course I've got fat wood pieces that I can shave down and make more ferro rod. I've got a butane cigar lighter that shoots out like a torch. I have got the Exotac super match here, and I also have a semi-quasi type of super match. If you're dealing with wet wood, you can take these. This has got Gorilla Tape all around it, which is going to help extend the flame a bit, and it'll burn for about 5 minutes, giving you ample time to be able to start your fire. Also in here, because of the fact fire is involved, I always bring these rings, to make the tripods. Quick tripod. I've got an extra e-candle there. This happens to be the tiny survival kit from Ultimate Survival Tips. I've never really used this. I've looked at it, I reviewed it, and it impressed me enough for me to keep it. But the tiny survival guides here, if you're ever in a survival situation, these are great to have on hand. You don't go bored, and you're also learning stuff. And then, of course, I have got the Sawyer Mini in here. I have some aqua tabs in here as well. So that's all that in that particular bag. Next bag up is this guy here. A little bit bigger than this one. And this has got all my food stuff in it. And what I have in here is trail mix. I've got some unrefrigerated applesauce containers. I've got some candy bars, some M&Ms in there. And this combined with the pesto that I showed you, that pesto could last me, that's 3 meals for me right there. And I could stretch it out to 4. And the combination of what's in that pesto bag with this here, I could easily survive 72 hours, even more. I know that seems like a stretch, but I've went as long as 17 days without eating anything. I don't want to do it again, but I'm just saying, I learned what my limits are, and when you tell me that I got to survive 4 days without food, I got this. Okay, so this would last me at least that long. Because I don't need a lot of caloric intake, either do you, especially if you're sitting in a vehicle. But I do put it all in this bag so I know exactly where it's at, and if I need it, boom, I grab it, take it out. And again, if you are a guy like me, I like bucket bags, to be honest with you. Anything that's a bucket style bag, I really like those. And these bags are a lifesaver when you're trying to get something out of a bucket style bag. The last bag is this right here. And this bag has a little bit of everything in it, so I'm just going to dump it out here. This is kind of my catch-all bag. All right. First thing you see is there is a 50-foot hank of ridgeline with pre-made prussics on it. Okay, in case I have to hang a tarp or something like that. Then I've got another hank right here. Same thing. I believe in redundancy. Then I've got some Gorilla Tape here. Got another Bic lighter here. Got a blanket pin. Got a couple heavy-duty carabiners. Of course, I got a compass in case I have to walk. I've got one of the Woodsman spikes from Wood Tramp Outdoors. This is the bigger one here. It's okay. I don't really like this one. I'll show you another one. I think this is too big, but people love these things. And then it's not a real good sharpener, but it's better than a stick in the eye, and keeps you from having to go out and find rocks to be able to sharpen your knife just in case you're in a survival situation. And then I've got this spoon and fork from Uco, just in case I need to use it to eat that other stuff. And then that's it for this bag. Oh, got another piece of fat wood and a big rubber band in there. Again, you never know what you're going to need in a survival situation. Everybody's going to be different, but you get out there and you find out you need it. It's better to have it, not need it, than to need it, not have it. Makes a lot of sense. Always has. All right. So now, let's say that you have to abandon your vehicle. Maybe your vehicle caught on fire. Maybe you can no longer keep warm in that vehicle. You ran out of fuel. You ran out of your e-candle to be able to use your heater. What are you going to do? Well, you're going to have to get out. And I don't recommend walking off unless you absolutely have to. What I recommend doing is building yourself a shelter, building yourself a fire. So for shelter, what I use in this particular bag this year is this 10 by 10 shelter, and it is a very, very heavy duty style of shelter. Inside here is not only the shelter, but all the lanyards, all the stakes that I need. Very waterproof. I just use this on a deer hunt. A little weight to it. This isn't something you'd want to put in a lightweight bag and carry it all day long, because it would take up a lot of your energy to be able to move this. But with this type of shelter, I can put up a plow point. I can put up a A-frame style to keep me warm. There's a lot of configurations you can do with this, but I mean, if I got to have a shelter, I've got one with me. With that shelter mentality, you're going to have a fire. And of course, I showed you the fire kit that I have here. And to go along with the fire kit, building a fire, I have this fire reflector. You know, I've never went beyond the prototype style. You know, we've got all the stuff that goes with it. But on one side, it's like a gum blanket almost, but it's made out of a very heavy-duty industrial wrap that machinery is shipped in to keep it moisture-free. It's like a super duper Tyvek is what I would say it is. One side is a reflective surface like this, it's heavy. And then on this side, what we've done is we have coated it with Flex Seal. It's flexible, but yet it is waterproof, it's heavy duty. So whenever you're out and you build a firewall, instead of chopping down or cutting down some small saplings and making your firewall, which takes a lot of time and takes a lot of physical energy, you know, I've got this here with grommets on all four corners to be able to stake it out and be able to configure it any way I want to. I can do it like a parabolic shield to throw the heat right at the shelter where I'm at. And I've used it many times. Folks are asking us if we're going to make these, and sadly, I'd have to tell you, I don't think we're going to. I just don't think that there is enough return on our investment, to be honest with you, because we'd have to do a lot of resourcing and things like that. And you know, it was a fun project, and I would highly recommend you guys going out and looking at that video and seeing how easy it is to build these, because they are worth their weight in gold. You know, it saves you a lot of time out in the bush instead of having to build that, especially if it's cold outside when your dexterity is low and you can hardly move. They're perfect. So we got our shelter, we got our fire going on. Now we may have to build something. You know, we might have to build a frame or build yourself a weapon, you know, a defensive weapon, whatever. So, you know, I've got 3 cutting devices. One of them is my stationary knife that I have here, fixed blade knife. This one comes from LT Wright. It's called the GNS. LT Wright makes some of the best knives on the planet. Of course, the Silky Gomboy. And then this is a Condor Greenland hatchet that is, you know, I like these around the campfire, and I could chop down a little 3-inch sapling if I need to make some ridge poles or whatever I need to do. This axe can help me out, and the combination of all 3 cutting tools gets me right where I need to be. Okay, some of the other things that I want to make sure that I have, I mentioned the stove, and I carry that in this little kit right here. I have got the stove itself here, and of course the cooking fuel. Now, if you're talking about wintertime, if you don't know this, I need to be the one that tells you then. This is not effective, this is not very efficient in the wintertime, because it just begins to constrict, it shrinks down, and it does not want to produce the gas the way it does when it's warm. So you have to sometimes warm this with your hands or put it inside your coat to make sure it's warm before you try to use it. Okay, it won't be as bad inside your vehicle, but that's what I was saying. You know, right there, you can put that just like that, and it's off the ground. It's very stable that way. So that is one of the stoves. Now, these fail, and this fails. What are you going to do if you don't have a stove? Well, that's why I carry with me what I'm going to show you here. This is called the Silver Fire Scout. This is a one and done bush stove. 2018, 2019, it was the bush stove of the year. Everything that you need is right in here. It burns off of any biofuel. Comes inside of an MSR pot. Look at this, how this goes up. It's very simple to use. Just like that. There is your stove, right? This is a gasification stove, which means when you have your primary burn, which you see the flames there, it gives off gas that is full of energy, but you have to be able to capture it to burn it a second time. And that's what these gasification stoves are, because they have a dual wall that is ventilated perfectly to burn that secondary gas, which means you use about a third of the fuel. It heats up super fast, super hot, and you know, we were just so impressed with these every time that we saw this stove. And we've seen probably 100 different bush stoves. This guy is still the best. It's from Silver Fire. It was designed by Mr. Todd Albee. Todd Albee is a former Navy SEAL, and man, everything is just great about this. Also, this comes with a magnesium rod with a ferro rod on the side. I don't know what this wood is, but I've used it for some tinder. Works fine. It's got a striker that comes with it, and comes with a stainless steel fork and spoon. I mean, that's the real deal right there. It's not plastic and it's not a spork. It is the real deal. Okay, and it all comes in this nice little pot. And I always have trouble putting this. There you go. Right there. And it just locks up just like that. And I'm telling you, if I am outside and I'm alone, this is a great part. Although I have fed another person with this. But if I'm outside of my vehicle and I'm in my shelter with a fire and I need some hot drink, I need to heat up some water, I need to boil water, this is great. The fuel you use is anything that's biofuel, all right? I've used dried cow dung. I've used every type of wood that you can imagine. It doesn't have to be big. It won't fit in there if it's big. You know, about the size of your finger, all it needs to be. And you just keep feeding that, and it burns super efficient, super hot. Okay. Another thing that I carry with me in this particular bag is this solar light from Glowco. And I mean, I love the light. I've used it a lot. And it takes up to a small footprint, and if you need to, you can charge it with a USB cable, or because it's solar, you can just set it in your dash for a few hours, and it'll give you several hours of light throughout the night. And light is very, very important. Okay, if for whatever reason you need to, your car won't start, your truck won't start, and your battery's dead, I like to carry one of these charging stations, solar charging station. This happens to be a 4-panel charger, and this came from BattleBox also, but it's from Frog and Company. And I've carried this quite a bit, and it has proven itself to be very efficient, sturdy, water resistant, everything. You know, you can just hook it on the back of your backpack if you want to and charge it, and then throw your device on it. All right. So let's see. Of course, because this is a winter bag, I've got these hand warmers and body warmers. And I tell you how I get these. At the end of the winter season, usually right before spring hits, the big box stores are filled with these. They put them on clearance. And I bought boxes of these for $2.50, so that's a good one. Now, this is a ready mask. You know, I try to keep some type of mask with me. This is one that was sent to me, and I'll be honest with you, I've not really used it in a adverse condition. I've had one on my face, it was comfortable, but I don't know how well it's going to perform. But just in case I need a mask, it is pretty decent. All right, it's got its built-in face shield on it. Now, let's talk about this. You've seen this kit before. This is a survival kit that I keep year-round, but I do change everything out. You know, you would think that I just get another tin and make several of them, but I haven't. I don't know if you can see it on the outside of this. There is some writing, and that writing is an inventory of what is in here, and that reminds me, okay, yeah, that's in here, that's not in here. You know, on the back there are cell needles of different configurations and Gorilla Tape in case I need it. So, but I want to show you what's inside of here, okay? And it's like Fibber McGee's closet. You know, there is a survival blanket. There is some sandpaper, aluminum foil, another bandana, a hank of bank line. This is a glow stick Chem light. I have to have reading glasses, you know, especially doing small tasks. I have a 6-inch ferro rod. I have a Exotech fire sleeve for my Bic lighter. Keeps it waterproof and I don't lose it. I have a bag of bush butter from Wood Tramp Outdoors, which is good from everything from keeping your knives from rusting, chap lips, burned hands, bug bites, door hinges, zippers, whatever. That stuff is the miracle drug right there. I do have a signaling mirror just in case. I have a headlamp, of course. This is the smaller woodsman spike that I showed you, the bigger one. This is the one I like. It's like an awl, but yet it's also like a spike that you can hang your gear with. Super good tool to have in your arsenal. That's from Wood Tramp Outdoors. Because I have the USB devices there, I've got a USB cable that I can charge with. This is a toggle and a lanyard to be able to hang stuff off the ground with. Of course, I have my main illumination device here is this flashlight. This flashlight is pretty stinking dope. You know, it changes configuration. It can be worn up here if you need to, or you can use it as a regular flashlight also. In here is another fire kit. All right, and this has fat wood, different tinders inside of this. Okay, and then I always carry a multi-tool. This happens to be the Leatherman's Wave. I've had this for years. It was given to me my first trip to Africa, and it has served me well ever since. And of course, the good old drum liner. All right, so we're going to put all this stuff back. I'm going to put it in the bag. You're going to be able to see all this, so hang tight. Be right back. All right, guys, there you have it. Everything in the bag, as I said, the blanket is strapped to the top, and on the molly webbing I've got my first aid and of course the gloves, and everything else is inside the bag or on the side of the bag. You know, this is the way you would carry it with a strap, and then on this bottom side down here in the sleeves are all the cutting equipment. You know, so it's all there. It'll all go in my truck, and hopefully that's where it will stay until springtime. That's what this is all about. So I hope this has helped you out. You know, the goal is to get you thinking safe and thinking of beyond the inevitable that might happen out there during the winter time. That's what this is all about, the winter e-bag. So appreciate you watching, appreciate you hanging for this long video, and if you like it, hit that like button. As always, subscribe to the channel, and we will put you in our monthly database for free gear. Somebody's pulled out sometimes twice a month we do it. Just depends on what we got on hand. So till next time, you guys ride free, you live free, and as always, like I said, be safe out there. Don't get caught in the wintertime.